Are you looking for valuable business advice to reach that 7-figure revenue mark? Do you want actionable tips to properly navigate through every business challenge you encounter along the way? Let Tersh Blissett and Josh Crouch be your guide in getting you to the top here at Service Business Mastery. Tune in as they sit down with world-renowned authors in business, leadership, and personal growth who share valuable insights about management, marketing, pricing, human resources, and so much more. Let their nuggets of wisdom gold guide you in owning a thriving, profitable, and ever-growing business. Here are your hosts, Tersh and Josh.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. Hope you're having a great day. You're listening to or watching Service Business Mastery Podcast. We are here with the world famous Al Levy at the Home Service Freedom event in Orlando, Florida. This is Tommy Mello's event. It used to be Vertical Track. Recently rebranded, and because it's for more trades than just the garage door industry, which is really
Church,
cool.
that was one of the things, that was like my day one takeaway was, I've seen installation contractors, I've seen epoxy floor contractors, HVAC, plumbing. We've seen
restoration companies. The whole gamut.
It's wild how quickly, because Tommy with Vertical Track, obviously it was mostly garage door and some other people came. Now, as soon as he's kind of rebranded this event, now it's open, the doors wide open for the other trades.
Yes, pardon the garage door pun. Yeah, we opened the doors wide open. And
Intentional.
It's a case of, I said to Tommy, like, all these people that are reaching out to me are in all the trades. They need this. And it's this whole idea that, oh, you know what? My trade is so different than everybody else's.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's a service. It's a service business.
Answer the phone, dispatch. Tech knows what they need to do when they get to the job. And then, by the way, the work you do.
Yeah.
And we just love to overcomplicate it.
Oh, absolutely. We are entrepreneurs, so that's what we do.
That's what we do.
It is.
We read a really good book, and then we're going to read another really good book.
We are going to.
And then we're going to read another good book, and then we're going to go on Facebook, and we're going to learn from somebody else who's either a genius or an idiot, and we won't know till too late.
Well, if you're listening to this show,
that before, you've seen that route go.
I have lived that route.
If you're listening to this show, it's two idiots, just so you know.
Okay.
Two idiots and a genius.
Yes, 2 idiots and a genius.
You get to choose which one.
This is going to be, we're going to move around like the shell game, like they do in New York City where they move the cards. We're just going to change seats.
Good luck.
You have to figure out which one of us is telling the truth. 2 lies and a truth.
Yeah, that's right. So huge congratulations to you, Al.
Thank you.
You just got an award here. Is it a Lifetime Achievement Award? Or?
Yeah, actually, it's, when you reach a certain age, I just turned 70, even though, I look like I'm 40. I'm assuming if you're...
I thought you were younger than Josh.
Yeah, if there's a radio, if you're listening on radio, I really am 40. If you're looking at the camera, you go, is that guy high? No. So, no, I don't. The reality is, people have really been great here. There's 700 people here. 700 people. Yeah.
I knew there was a lot.
Yeah, 700 people. And so many people have been coming up to me. It's really, great. And they just naturally just say, you're a legend. And I say, that's because I'm old.
I love how you just keep it real. It's just it's just real talk with I guess that's what we should call this segment, Real Talk with Al Levy.
Yeah. It's I take what I do seriously, always have. And the reason I take it seriously is because I do this second career, not because I have to. I'm doing it now I started in 2002, so 21 years ago is when I started. And really, it was to give back to my mentors. I know it sounds corny. Everybody loves to say, oh, yeah, it's because of your mentors. No, it really is. They completely changed my life. Whether that mentor I worked with one-to-one or if it was just a great book like E-Myth, Michael Gerber, which is hysterical to me, by the way. I read it in the 90s, completely changed my life. And now it has a whole new life because of Ken Goodrich and these other guys are out there. And I'm going, okay, I guess it's new again.
Yeah.
And it's like phenomenal. So, yeah, but mentors, come into your life. And it's a classic case of, you hear it so much is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, I told the story in there about, how I hit rock bottom, and not your rock bottom, my rock bottom, which was where I was letting my family down.
Okay.
And I get emotional to this day when I repeat this, is because I had to hit that to find out who I really was. Mm-hmm. And actually, Ellen Rohr, my great partner in Zoom Drain and everything, we worked together as co-consultants. And she told me something recently is you should never rob anybody of their bottom. I go, what does that mean?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ellen's full of those. Like,
Ellen is like,
genius.
I talked to her at breakfast this morning, and I'm like, oh, Ellen, I could talk to you for hours.
You absolutely could if you could get a word in. So, Ellen, yes, if you're listening to this, I said
I wasn't
that.
going to say that.
No, that's
you know her well enough to say.
I know
it.
that
We
well enough. No, I am smart enough at times to shut up and listen hard when she talks.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, that's
She's
cool.
great. I'm very blessed.
So tell us about your story that you shared in there, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with it. With the bottom for me, and everybody reaches bottom. We think we hit bottom, and then we find out, well, there's a new bottom.
Yeah, yeah. That was just the topsoil. Now we got to hit rock bottom.
I like that. So I was sharing this. My daughter was probably about 8 years old, Pam, the oldest, and she was complaining to the guidance counselor, I really would love to see my dad more.
Oh God.
And yeah, so the guidance
that
counselor
hits
called
right in the
me.
heart.
Oh, well,
That hits
told-
somewhere else. That's like a kick in the nuts.
Yes, exactly. And,
Yeah.
and they called my wife, Natalie, and my wife goes ballistic. You mean, what do you mean? He's the guy in the back of the room with a big camcorder on his, because it was years ago.
yeah,
And he's in he never misses a recital, never misses anything. He's the only dad back there. And when Natalie tells me this story, it was like a knife in my heart,
Oh yeah.
because I knew what Pam was talking about for the first time, which is, yeah, I was physically there.
But mentally present.
Oh, yeah, I was not anywhere close to I was thinking about the last lady who yelled at me at the last job I was at. I was getting there. I know I got to get this camera thing. And when this is done, I know I got to go to 4 more calls today and got to put out 1,000 more fires. And it was just,
How many times are we physically present with our family
not
and kids, but not mentally?
Or we're thinking about something else.
Because I mean, my wife will drag me to your kids. Like Adeline, my daughter, she'll have just meet with a parent type time at school, and it's like 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, right after lunch, right before a knockoff. So that means I'm not gonna be able to get anything else accomplished the rest of the day. And so
Almost
you're
like, almost
there.
like angry that you're
Yeah.
you're almost like angry to be there. It's like, yes, I'm gonna do this to be there, but I don't really want to.
I want my dad badge that says I'm a good dad.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why I'm there. It's
exactly.
my dad badge. Like, give
And
me my
I'm
my
one of
certificate.
the
Yeah.
maybe only or maybe 2 dads that shows up there.
Yeah, exactly
And then
right.
I can say, hey, look, I have
I
a
was-
successful
I was
business
always
that
there.
I can be here and be present. But in reality, you're not present.
And I'm actually ashamed to say, but really my dad, we were 6 kids. And my mom passed when I was only 4 years old. She was 39, just passed away. And so my dad has 6 young kids,
That's
a
tough.
growing business.
Yeah.
And as a young kid, I'm amazed that, when he would come home, I was thinking to myself, if I was him, and I'm telling you, I was maybe 7, 8 years old, I would pop a beer open and just tell these kids to get away from me. and my dad come home and would go through with each and every one of us, how was your day? What's gone on? What are you feeling? And we were and this is not the touchy-feely era of today, trust me.
Yeah.
But also, the way our dad showed us that he loved us was he would grab his boys up in the middle of the night to go run service calls and take us along with him, because that's when we would get quality time
yeah.
and bonding time.
talk to the truck.
There's times I take my sons out with me also, and we'll climb on the roof of a restaurant. And
It's the
they're-
best.
It is.
It is the
and
best.
Like I have a conversation with my oldest son. He ran some service calls with me last summer when I actually was running service calls every once in a blue moon. And
It's a good thing to show people you can do it.
yeah,
I got to tell you, I ran it right to the end. People go, oh, you have all these systems, you got all these people trained. Tersh, I would just love when a tech like you would say, Al, you can't sell it for that much, or you can't do it that fast. I go,
Watch
I
me.
totally understand. I tell
Watch
you what,
me.
yeah, why don't you come be my helper today?
Why don't you carry my tools? Just come watch me.
Or the sales guy goes, oh, you can't sell it for 30 to 50% higher than everybody else. I go, totally get it. Come, let's do a ride-all. Let's see what happens today.
try it.
Yeah, so I love that. I love keeping my hand in.
But so Ivy, he would rode with me, and then 6 or 8 months later, I didn't think anything of it.
You didn't think any
It's-
of it was kicking in?
I thought that he was like almost annoyed that
Like
he had
bored.
to come.
Yeah, like what
bored.
teenager wants to
Yeah,
come
what-
run a service call? Like,
Yeah,
I'm going
like-
to be on my phone. or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he just randomly mentioned, oh yeah, that BX25 belt. Like I remember that. I was like,
Oh, that's
are
great.
you serious right
That
now?
is great.
Like,
That
yeah,
is
we remember we had to get that on that rooftop unit. And it was a BX, not a B, and I had to make sure it had ridges. And I was like, Wow, you caught all of that.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That blew my mind, honestly. And it was 6 or 8 months after this happened, and we had never talked about it between those two times either.
That is such a great story and a validating thing. To the point is that, you know, we think, oh, we have to, we're in Orlando. You have to go to Disney World with your kids.
Yeah.
Well, if you can, and you have a pile of money, do it.
At least a pile of money.
A pile of money. But the point being is, that isn't where the magic happens, in my opinion. It's the everyday little things that go on. Being mentally available, which is so hard. If you're caught up in your business and it's all consuming, you got to fix it. You got to fix it for the business, but to get your personal life back. And, you know, the words are always tossed around is, when you started your business, was the goal for you to be a slave to your business or for the business to serve you? And we're so deep in the woods at this point, we've lost that. Most of us lose that way. And that really is one of the big problems, is you need to remember that the business is there to serve you. So what do you have to do to get this business right? So you too can do the same as I did, which is be able to be available to my family in the moment. And the greatest expression, of course, you know, is put your head above your feet. And I know you do martial arts, you know, the same thing about balance. It's easy to say.
If I put my...
It's a lot harder to do it.
Okay.
We're on camera, you can try it.
Put your head above your feet.
Yeah.
Okay. I was writing when you said that. I thought you said put your feet above your head. I said instantly I'm going to pass out.
Well,
Okay.
I
may have said that.
No, I don't think you did.
Okay.
I think you said
Yeah,
that. I think I heard wrong. I have dyslexia, and sometimes things just run back.
I have dyslexia before we knew what dyslexia was. Back in my day, it wasn't diagnosed, and you know, I couldn't understand why I couldn't read that fast. And I was never a quitter.
I was diagnosed as an adult with dyslexia and ADHD.
So you didn't know that in school?
Had no idea the whole time in school.
You just thought you couldn't read.
I just was super embarrassed whenever I had to stand up in front of class
and you like read out loud.
And I just would stutter and develop a speech impediment because of the fact that I couldn't. That's the whole reason I started the podcast.
That's funny. Yeah, you know, that's what we always talk about, step into your fear.
Yeah, that's 100%.
And it's amazing about, you know, for people know that I've trained, you know, my own company for years and years and years, and then I taught other people how to train, and then I've trained people all over the country about how to become better trainers. And I'm very clear about it, because when they say, you know, you're really good at it, and they go, I was really good because I really sucked. I mean, I sucked. I was a really great salesperson. I sold $1 million a year in the 90s as a part-time job at my business, part-time, $1 million.
Wow.
So they go, well, how did you get so good at sales? I go, because I was so awful. But I refused to stay awful. I refused. I went to training. I practiced.
Some people just
I did
give
it in front of the mirror. Yeah, they give up because
They give up too early.
Or they say, like, I'm awful at that, but I'm good at this, so I'm just going to completely ignore this and just do this.
At what point, Al, so people that are awful, maybe they're awful and they hate it, or they're awful and they don't want to learn it. Especially we're talking about business and stuff like that, because Tommy's hired people to do, I don't know, I think he even has someone like pack his suitcase. Like, at what point do you, if there's things that you don't want to do and you don't want to learn it, is there a point where you should at least know enough about it so you can't get, you know, someone can't...
pull the wool over your eyes.
Pull the wool over your eyes. That's a good analogy.
I would say that the biggest thing is, when I talk about the org chart, Ellen and I believe in the box org chart, you can give away every box except two: financial manager and marketing manager. The reason you don't have to do anything in the financials, but if you think you're not smart enough to know the financials, I promise this to you, it's not an if, it's only going to be a when, is when somebody on your financial team is going to take advantage.
Right.
Because it's your...
Well, we've all seen the stories.
Oh, you've seen
millions of dollars,
millions.
embezzlement, stuff like that, because they didn't know what was going on. They didn't care enough about the financials.
And this idea, in school, everyone has told you that you're stupid. As a matter of fact, even if you're not stupid, they just go, you know what, maybe you should go to trade school.
Implying.
Yeah, implying that you're stupid.
Yeah.
So they built this belief in that we could never be smart enough to do it. And the reality is, Ellen Rohr has proved that wrong with so many of my clients over the years, in so many places. The reality is, in a financial manager box, what you need to be able to do is to know that you can trust the numbers they're giving you, you can verify it, and that they're correct. That's your job, not to create them and have your team be able to deliver them on time. That's what the
So
financial
just
manager box.
the manager box, not the doer.
Oh,
box.
not the doer box at all.
Well, I think people complicate that
Yeah.
because when you say manager, and I struggle with this too. We're implementing EOS in our business and learning that yes, I'm in charge of this, but I don't have to do the work to get. I just have to oversee to make sure it gets done.
Make sure it gets done and done on time.
Yes.
It's not one or the other. It's both.
Well, I like that you brought up marketing manager too
on
because.
Because you do marketing.
Well, no. I'll get to the point here.
Who knew that, Josh? does
Right.
Mark?
Who knew?
Ironically, not enough people. Not enough people.
Everyone listening.
So I do have a
Josh
digital
does
marketing company. No, because what I find is contractors, they either love marketing
Yes.
or they absolutely hate it. And what they try to do is they try to hire third-party companies to like manage their vendors.
And then just
And
forget about it.
It's like literally they try to shove it in this dark corner.
Yeah, because-
and they don't want to know about it. They don't want to learn about it.
That's because I believe the false belief is if you're not good at it, delegate it. Well, you haven't earned the right to delegate it right
Oh yeah.
until you know what goes on in that box. So they have to occupy the marketing manager. So if I were to hire you and I want more calls, well, I didn't say how many calls I want.
Yeah.
What type of calls do I want? I didn't say that. I said, when do I need these calls? I didn't tell you that either. I didn't tell you how much money there is to make it all happen. So the marketing manager box that you never give away is you as an owner need to know who are your ideal target or ideal targets. What is your unique selling proposition? What are the 10 great reasons to choose your company in the sea of 1,000 companies that are out there you compete with?
I find that that's a really hard thing for people to come up with.
But you got to nail their feet to the floor, Josh.
Yeah.
And not
How?
just for
What
them, but
happened?
you have to do it for yourself because
Yeah,
they're
it's-
automatically sabotaging your results because they're going to judge you on. But if I were to hire you and I'm in the marketing manager box, I go, I need this amount of calls from these people this time. Here's who those ideal people are. Here's where they live. Can you go get me those calls? Because I want to be fair to you and you want to be fairly judged.
Yeah.
That's how I own the market. I'm not coming up with the next great direct mail postcard campaign. I'm not going on GMB, LSA, or the myriad of I can't push a shopping cart down the supermarket aisle with an advertising thing in front of me. So is there a billion ways to market? Yeah, there are a billion ways to market. Can you do what I used to call a shotgun approach and have real success? My opinion, no. The idea is to measure, write that one down, measure, and then come up with from buckshot to rifle shot is what I used to call it, where you're picking 3 really good drivers. That doesn't mean it's the only 3, but
Three
it's
that drive the primary
Yes.
most of your
that's going to
calls.
get you
Yeah.
the gross sales and the gross profit that you desire so that we end up at where we want to go. Would you get in a car, shut off your GPS, and drive from LA to New York and hope you get there?
Sometimes.
Old Route 66.
Yeah.
Route 66.
I just take that. That'd be my only hope.
Okay, and that will get you to Chicago, my friend.
Oh.
Well, there you go. So don't do that.
Don't follow that advice.
Yeah.
Don't follow any of my advice,
No.
actually.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 boxes that you always own.
Yeah.
You can, the
So
bigger you get.
even you get to Tommy's size.
Oh yeah,
He still owns it.
He
Tommy
still
talks about marketing all the time.
Yeah, he loves it. He loved it from the day I walked in. So
Is there anything that Tommy doesn't love?
he doesn't like what I made him sit down and do, which was, processes, procedures, slow down,
Sure.
create the master project, top 30, top 5. But the fact that you don't like it, well, that's semi-interesting to me.
Yeah.
But you need to know what it is because that determines your business for the next 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. I don't get into the 10 and 15, 20-year thing.
Things change.
Well, yeah.
COVID happened.
Did I mention I'm 70? Because I don't really think about planning 10 years from here.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah. So the reality is, but even back in the days when I was young,
Yeah.
I really felt that you have control over the 1, 3, and 5. And guess what? Master project list is your 5-year plan. The top 30 is your 1-year plan. And how are you going to get there? The GPS, if you will, is your top 5.
Well, and what Al's talking about is there's a couple people on this video montage that we put together and came up on stage is you take because entrepreneurs and CEOs, especially those visionary brains, have a million ideas. And Turch and I are so guilty of
Oh,
this.
we
We
are.
text
We are.
back and forth about
We need to do
Way
this. We need to do
too
that.
much.
We need to do this.
I just read this book.
oh my God.
I just
Well,
saw this TikTok.
Well, and then
Yeah.
he was, on the way down here, he was listening to Elevate, and then
I was listening
he's
to
texting
Elevate,
me,
and I was texting
and then
Tommy, and I was texting John.
Well, and then I'm reading on the plane. I'm reading Alex Hormozy's book, which has a million great ideas, and texting him. And but the purpose was write down 30 ideas, the 30 you have in your head that you can think of, and narrow it down to the top 5, and those are the top 5 you focus on until those ones are done.
Yeah, ignore the other.
And then you can move on to other ones.
What happens if you have those top 5 ideas while you're working on those? Say they take 6 months to do. You're reading more books. Do you just stop reading?
No. You're welcome to continue to read. You're welcome to come to these and capture these ideas. But where they go to live is the top of the funnel, which is the master project list.
Do you ever change those 5 out?
They earn their way off.
But you don't take them off until they've earned their way off.
Do we have a second to kind of talk about it?
Yeah.
Master 100%. Project list is every great idea that you and the rest of the people in your company have today, and every great idea that you have because you came to this great event, and everything else you're going to know. It goes to live up there, and I made my company understand that's where the whipsaw begins to end, is having a master project list. And then you whittle it down to your top 30, but how you get to your top 30 is very critical. There are 2 strainers. One is it fixes your biggest problem or challenge, and the other one is it fixes or gives you the greatest chance to grow and be profitable. That is the only way they go from the master project to the top 30. And the top 30...
Say that one more time.
So the master project list gets whittled down to your top 30 because of 2 strainers. One is fixes the biggest problem or challenge. So every truck that goes out there doesn't have the stock that it needs, or they don't have the skills and training to do that. That's a problem or challenge I got to fix. The other one is the greatest chance to grow and be profitable. I recognize I'm not getting the right calls from the right customers at the right time. How am I going to fix that? Well, I got to put fuel in the tank, which is my marketing budget. I've got to narrow down onto the right 3 primary driver market allocation drivers I'm going to use. Doesn't mean I'm going to ignore the others, but that's going to get the majority of my time, energy, and money. So that's the reason it would make the top 30. And then you take the same strainers again. Fix the biggest problem or challenge, greatest chance to grow and be profitable, and that is how you arrive at your top 5. I never gave anybody their top 5. They had to go through that process. And the reason I did...
You mean like that worked for you, or...
That I worked with when I was doing one-to-one...
Okay.
Yeah, coaching. Yeah.
Because you can't tell them what
yeah,
their
add
top
that
5
asterisk
mean.
in there.
I mean,
don't call me. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I do want to add that asterisk. Thank you. The reality is that it's still in the book. You know, the book 7 Power Contractor is there, and it talks about this principle and really about how to get to that. But
you said something on stage that was hilarious to me. You met with Tommy after being on the podcast.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, you were in the same area. Can you go through that and say that again and talk about him saying you're hired?
Yeah. So I'm going to be on Tommy's podcast back in like 2017. And I looked down at my phone and I realized it's my area code. And I go, Tommy, where do you live? And he goes, Phoenix. He goes, Al, where do you live? I go, Scottsdale. He goes, great. After the podcast, we're going to go have lunch. Okay. I'm up for lunch. So we're having lunch and he hands me a book. He goes, this is my book. I want you to read it. I want you to be brutally honest. And I go, Tommy, you don't really know me. Don't give me the book if you don't want brutal honesty, because you're going to get it. So I just told him, I went home and read it, and I tried my best. But I came back and I said, this is not a book. This is a ransom note. And so you need an editor, my friend. And he goes, great. Oh, by the way, you're hired. I go, what? I'm not here for a job. He goes, oh, yeah, you have to work with me. I believe everything that you're talking about, everything that you do. I need all of that. So that was kind of funny. I
brought you out of retirement.
Yeah, well, I wasn't in retirement at that time.
Oh, yeah.
I was busy. Yeah, Tommy broke me. That was kind of. You want a story?
So if we're gonna be honest here.
Yeah, I'm gonna be straight out honest. So I started this career in January 2002, and I didn't need to work. So I figured, well, I'll do it for like 10 years. 10 years. Good. I'll get back to the industry. It'd be a good way to
be a mentor to mentees,
and also get me out of the house so I could stay married. Natalie, if you're listening, that's true. So sure enough, life happens. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and it's December 2019, and I'm flying back from the great Keith Pinkerton, Mr. Electric, a huge company I worked with down at the same time that I worked with Tom. And I'm sitting in this very narrow seat with a really wide butt, and I think to myself,
I think I'm done with this.
I think I'm done with flying all over the country. My programs were already online.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what? It's never going to be better than Tommy and Keith. I'm going to leave it here.
Stop while you're on top.
I'm going to walk off the stage before they come drag me, which is what I just did, by the way.
Yeah.
Is walk off the stage. I was 35 years old, and my friend Dan Holland, industry giant, great speaker like Keith, who's there now talking. And he and I are sitting in the audience. He had already been on stage for a while. I had not done anything at that point. And he pokes me in the ribs because there's an old guy on the stage, and he goes, and he was like stuttering or fumbling through his speeches, and he goes, promise me, if I'm ever on stage at that age and I don't know what I'm doing, come walk me off the stage.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And I said to him, if I should ever get on the stage and I'm that old, come get me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'd rather walk off the stage than be dragged off.
Sometimes,
the stage.
like Josh is on stage, and he's not quite that age yet, but I'd just like, Josh, you got to get off the stage.
Josh, walk this way.
Yeah,
off the stage.
come over here.
Yeah.
Get off the stage before you ever get on. Just don't even try it.
Yeah. Come this way with me. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, so that was kind of the story. But yeah, so anyway, I took them out to dinner because Keith flew out to see Tommy's great shop, and the two of them worked together. Very different personalities. I mean, extremely different personalities. So I take them out to dinner, and I look at the two of them, and I go, dinner's on me. And I just want you to know, you are the last two consults that I ever did one-to-one. And you should know it's because the two of you broke me. And they do this. Yes. With a high five.
I'm sure they were happy
They
about
was
that.
like, yeah, okay.
That was like a proud moment.
We broke Al.
Oh, that's terrible. That is terrible.
And true. And true.
What I love is, so like when you gave the book advice to Tommy, there's been a couple stories. I think Jody Underhill shared one. I think there was maybe Joe Crisara. Tommy makes decisions. Like, people don't even know they're being interviewed by Tommy. And all of a sudden he's like, you're going to work for me. People struggle with decision making so much. The fear, the analysis paralysis thing that goes on, and someone like that, because everyone wants to be the next Tommy. They want to be the next Tommy or the next
Tommy,
Ishmael or the next whoever,
or Aaron.
but they don't realize that the level of, like, these guys don't have the fear of failing. Like, there's literally no fear there. They just go because they know what they want, and it's not normal, and that's why people they come to me, or they've talked to Tersh, and they're like, I'm going to be the next so-and-so. And I'm like, why don't you just be a really good you? Because you got to fit the personality mold perfectly to be that level.
I think, that's really true. And it's a case of, first of all, for all the years, I am there to help you make your dream come true. But if you don't know what your dream is, I cannot make it come true.
You can't live their dream.
I can't live their dream. I can't drag you kicking and screaming up the hill. I did that to my brothers, my business. But to their credit, they came along for the journey because it was a better place that I knew we needed to get to, and we did all these things to take control. So, yeah, the question is, what are you willing to give up? So when you look at Tommy's great house today and the new one he's building, and the fact that he's got a new car, and
he might seem like an overnight success.
Yeah, the overnight success, and he's still relatively young. Certainly with an old guy like me, he's really young. Yeah. But the reality is, you guys don't know that he used to sleep on a cot in his apartment houses. He didn't own a place. Yeah. He used to drive a truck that had 190,000 miles. He never bought a new truck. Mm-hmm. Are you willing to do that? Yeah. Are you? Because if you're not, then you're not the next.
When you're making your first $1 million or $2 million, and you're buying, you got to have a brand new truck every 18 months, and you got your sports car.
You want to look the part before you are the part.
Yes.
That's not going to work. I mean, Tommy had the apartment complex for the techs to come in, and he was living in it.
He was living it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I told this to Tommy way before the money showed up. I go, when the money shows up, I don't want you ever, ever, ever to feel guilty about it, which sounds weird. But
you do have
But you do feel, there are so many of us that go, well, am I worthy? Am I worthy of it? And how many of you have seen
imposter syndrome,
where when you kick, you'll kick it right away from you because you don't feel it's yours, the lottery thing and the rest of it. And I go, Tommy, you have earned every inch of this mile. And I don't care what anybody thinks. Don't ever let anybody define for yourself. And that goes for you as well, if that's what you want. But can I share a quick story?
Yeah.
So,
we'll talk to you all day if you want.
A quick,
we'll just chop it up in like 8 episodes.
Yeah, 8 episodes. So I worked all over this great country doing one-to-ones. And then I would end up on the West Coast, and coming from New York, it was kind of hard because used to the East Coast hustle, we get it done, we move, what's next? What's next? And then I moved working in the Midwest. And it was really great to work around Midwest people because I had not been through
Aren't they nice?
They're They are very
Those
nice.
Midwest people are damn nice.
I know generalities are not supposed to be. But
It is
it's
true,
not-
though.
it
Not
is true.
Josh. Like there are abnormal people though. Like
Don't look too deep. Don't get in the way of a good
Just
story.
leave it on the surface level.
No, just leave
Don't
it on the
dig.
good stuff. I meet Iowa, I'm working through Wisconsin, the rest of it. And what I loved about Midwest people is they are workers. They're going to get it done, but they don't have an East Coast attitude. And so it was great. And then I started working in the West, in California in particular. And, I would go to a shop and they go, yeah, I want to be, 10 million. I want to be 40 million. And I want to do that in the next year or two. And it's not my place to judge. My job is to put a plan together and help you execute to get that. And I go, great. So there's some things we have to give up. And they go, well, I'm not giving up my surfing. I have to surf every day.
every morning.
And I have yoga lessons late afternoon. And by the way, I do yoga. I took up yoga when I moved to Arizona because I was broken. I'm serious. My leg, I couldn't sit on the floor.
Tommy physically broke you too.
That was he mentally
He looks
broke
like
me.
he could now.
Now he could. Yeah,
He's jacked now.
I was mentally broke. So I was in there and I went to a yoga class because I wanted to play better golf. But I used to sleep on the floor because if you work in the trades and you've done it for 10 years, your body's beat up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, your knees, your backs, your hands. So anyway, I go, but I never told anybody in New York that I was doing yoga. Because now, of course, it's everywhere. But back then in 2002, it was like, what? You're doing what?
You do.
Yeah, so it kind of like changed, my life and my point of view. And that's the whole thing about, I never had my head over my feet, as I was trying to say before. So it makes a world of difference. There's ways to get yourself healthy. But the question comes back to, what are you willing to give up to pursue your dream? Now, you don't have to give it up forever. You don't have to give it up totally.
Yeah.
But you've got to fit your personal and the rest of it. So when I went off to go do this second career, it was the first time that I stepped into nothingness. I was born into a business, and you
that's
just
right.
hurry up and go.
How weird was that?
It was very strange. I took 3 years of planning while I was still working because I gave my brothers 3 years notice that I was leaving.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
That's quite nice of
Yes,
you.
I know. It's I was never gonna,
Years.
I wasn't going to leave them high and dry, and frankly, I was never coming back. So it was going to be a two-way thing. But basically, I went off, and for the first time in my life, I created 10 golden rules for my business and 10 golden rules for my life. And I said, these two have to be compatible because I was given my golden rules, if you will, at how things were. And the business was always first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Oh, by the way, yeah, you have a personal life.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe.
Sometimes on the weekends.
So I invite you to put together your 10 golden rules for your business and the 10 personal golden rules for your life, and then print them up, do whatever you want to do, but put them side by side and see where the conflict is. Because you have to make some adaptation to make them fit. So I still look to this day, by the way, they've evolved obviously over the years. But I left and I said, I'm going to play golf, 3 to 5
Give
times a
examples
week.
of
Yeah.
a couple of them.
So in my personal goal was that I was going to do yoga 3 times a week. I do it 4. I was going to play golf 3 times a week. My back can't take that, so I play twice a week. I was going to be able to fire a customer, which I couldn't do easily. I did actually get to the point where I would fire customers.
Couldn't fire them because you didn't want to have the hard conversation, or you couldn't afford to.
I could.
He doesn't
I had
strike me as someone that has a problem with
No,
that.
I did have a problem in that because I had to go through my 2 brothers and my dad before I could fire a customer.
Oh, okay.
But I did finally impress upon them, if we're really true about that BS about your employees are our number one customer, well, you better
and
act
they get
like
treated like crap.
you bet. So if you could have a bad day, Tersh, as a customer, we understand you're upset, you had no heat and plumbing, cooling, that's okay. But if everyone I send to, you abuse them on the phone,
Every time.
you abuse every tech I send, I'm going to fire you.
You're crappy to the CSRs.
Yeah, and if I come to your place and it's just cat poop all over the heating system, and it's just unsanitary,
Yeah.
I had to go to people's houses and go, this is not a personal statement.
You walk in the
But
door and it's
You
ammonia.
can, the
over.
smell,
And-
yeah.
Or walking into Hoyer houses, and this is again not a judgment thing,
Yeah, no.
but it is a protection. If you don't put your actions to the words you mouth, you're work. In my opinion, as an owner and a really
That's a
person-
mic drop there.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Like literally, it's true though, because it's the same thing on the customer side. If you tell a customer you're going to do something, you better do it.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because that's how you build trust and loyalty in customers that want to come back to your business, which same thing with employees that want to show up the next day, is you do what you say. And I know Tommy is a huge proponent of this. He's talked about it. I think in between every segment when he gets on the stage, he talks about his people. And I mean, honestly,
he's fully devoted. But actually, I don't know if were you in the audience when they did a nice testimony of Jim Crediti, Zoom Drain. He was. I didn't know that Jim was going to even be here. I saw Ellen.
Yeah.
Jim was my partner in Zoom Drain. So he's up on the montage, and I go, that's nice. And then he's standing on the stage, unbeknownst to me.
Surprise.
So he's on the stage talking about the truth here, which was back in 2005, I came to his shop. He was in Drain. And I was a snotty guy because I thought Drain was, how hard could that be? Because I had done it.
Right.
And I got my eyes ripped wide open. I didn't realize about, hydrojetting and all the things that they did. So he had 5 guys at the time, and he and his brother were working, and he tells me he wants to franchise in 2005, and I just turn my head slowly through the shop like this, and I go, I have an idea, Jim. Why don't we see if we can get them here every day on time, dressed right, before we do franchise? And so, anyway, put the idea away. Then comes Ellen goes and does Ben Franklin, becomes the mother of Ben Franklin, finishes her commitment, and she says she wants to do franchising again. I said, well, I know one guy, and that's Jim Crediti, and then we did it. But the point of it is, so I was working at that shop, and then I told Jim, I said, you really need Ellen to help you with the financials and the other stuff. We got to bring her in, because that was always my co-consultant. And Ellen calls him up and goes, so what time do you want me there tomorrow? And most guys who are contractors want us there at 5 a.m. If they could, they want us there at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Well, I never go before 8 o'clock. Yeah. I'm also on a time change out of Arizona. So Jim immediately says 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and Ellen goes, I'm sorry, did you say 2 o'clock in the afternoon? And he goes, yeah, I hate my employees.
Oh, gosh.
This is in 2005.
the guy that wanted to start a franchise.
Said he hated them because they weren't doing what he wanted.
Yeah.
Problem is, he never told them what he wanted.
They just had to read his mind.
Yes, and it's like this, and I haven't figured a better analogy. Tersh, I need you to jump. But I didn't tell you when, or how high, or any other thing.
Well, good, because he can't jump anymore.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, he's got blisters on his feet.
Oh, they're disgusting.
How he got hooked into walking 24 hours.
That's a story for a different
that's
day.
a story for another day. You can say that one. But the point is,
We're never going to tell this.
this is what I want to finish up. Is Jim evolved that his day waking up was how could he make the employees' lives better in his company. Talk about a 180.
Yeah.
I mean, an incredible 180. And then he wanted to do this for every company in the franchise because of what it changed.
Well, and look at what's happened since. I mean, I think they shared it on stage at, what are there, like 100 and...
Yeah, there's 55. People have to know there's 55. Well, we say no to a ton of companies that want to be in our franchise.
I'm sure a lot of requests come in. And once you get to that size and that's successful, people are like, yeah, I want to do this.
Yeah, if you're not going to commit, we were never going to go with the basic model of one man in a truck. And sorry, but one man in a truck, in our opinion, is a life of misery. You work all day, turning the tools with your phone over here because you're trying to answer it. And then you finally get home at night and you got to do the bills. It's just really bad. So you have to buy 2 trucks. You have to invest, the money and the rest of it. I have sold my share of Zoom Drain. This isn't a Zoom Drain commercial. But I firmly believe in everything that they do and how they do it. But the story here that I want you to make sure you understand is your hating on your employees is not going to make your life better or their life better. You're loving on them, but really you can't get to love until you clearly say what it is that they need to do and have clear objectives so that they can win, so you can win. But really it starts like this. The customer has to win first, so the company can win second, so the staff can win third, so that you will win fourth. It works in that order.
It's tough whenever the customer's not winning and you try and reward the technician too early.
Yes.
I've done that. I've been guilty of that.
People think reward programs or pay performance is going to fix every mess that I have in my company. Nope. Let me help you out here. No, it will not. It will not at all. You are dead wrong.
Yeah. Cool, Al. Well, I don't think there's an error, but it says there's an error there.
Should I break the mic?
No.
You yelled too loud.
I did yell loud. I'm so sorry.
I want
to so loud. I apologize.
I do want to wrap it up just in case there is any kind of issue. But
it is probably food and coffee.
It went away.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Al, we really appreciate hanging out.
Thank
with
you guys for inviting me back. You know, I really, it sounds corny, but I really appreciate the opportunity, the platform you guys have allowed me to speak to people, and that's my mission. So thank you, my friends.
Yeah, you're welcome. No problem.
Absolutely. If anybody has any questions for Al, he's now decided to open up, and he's going to do one-on-one coaching again. So
he will fly anywhere you want.
That is a lie. that is a bold-faced, 100% lie. But I do have my programs online, so you are welcome to do it. I do offer a free 30-minute call. You just email me at al@7powercontractor.com. Say you heard this great broadcast, the best one that I'm doing right now.
If you mention the broadcast, he will travel to your shop.
Yes, virtually. I will travel to your shop. You missed that word, virtually.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it so much.
yeah, absolutely. Everybody have a wonderful day. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.